Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to All Chiefs Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass. And the Bears went down to Arrowhead and got spanked 41-10. Steve, let's talk about it.
Before we get the show started, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of this season. Help us out. Hit that sub button and hit the like button. Get this out to more Chiefs fans. Mike, the Bears got absolutely demolished in Arrowhead today.
Demolished. With
Taylor Swift watching.
Taylor was there. Did you guys know Taylor Swift was there? They only talked about it 35,000 times. But by the way, her boo thing got in the end zone, baby. And so with that.
They call me El Travidor.
Hey, that mustache is working for him, buddy.
It's working.
He's pulling in billionaires now with that mustache.
It's
El
working.
Travidor.
It's working, Steve. It's working. Dude, the Chiefs look good today. Everybody that was doubting on the Chiefs, everybody that said the Chiefs wasn't we wasn't good this year. Everybody that said we were slipping. Everybody that said the receivers were slipping. Everybody that said the defense couldn't hold up for 2, 3, 4 weeks. You're wrong. And we got 2 words for you.
Suck it. Suck it. We got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
That's what I think.
Yeah, man. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. And you know the Chiefs could be more dominant this year than they've been in years past. And we saw that today. We saw it all clicking together. The defense, Mike. The defense is freaking elite. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They have a shot to be elite by the end of this year because Spags defenses start slow and they always get really good at the end of the year.
Right.
This one's come out swinging. This defense has come out the gate, baby.
Week one, we didn't have Chris Jones. We come out, we performed. We look good against a good Lions team. Week 2, Chris Jones is back. Everybody's playing. We demolished Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville, holding them to 9 points, 3 field goals. And then this week, we lose our middle linebacker, Nick Bolton, the play caller, the heart and soul of the defense, gone. But Drew Tranquill, the guy we signed in the offense from the Chargers, or in the offseason, not the offense, the guy we signed in the offseason, he come in and he played excellent today, Steve. I want to say Drew Tranquill, 8 total tackles and a half sack on the day. He was getting everybody in position. He was moving people around. He was looking good. He was flying to the ball. Drew Tranquill had himself a day today. So we did not miss Nick Bolton as much as I thought we would, and the defense looked amazing. I'm surprised our defensive line didn't eat more than I thought they would, but the Bears were holding all day, man. There was 2 holds in the end zone at the same time with George Karlaftis and Chris Jones. Should have been a safety. They just let them go with it. They wasn't calling penalties on the Bears when they needed to call penalties on the Bears.
Absolutely not, man. And I think, Justin Fields is pretty mobile back there, so I think he escaped some imminent sacks there a few times, pulled a little Houdini moves. But overall, man, the defense looked absolutely great. They didn't miss a beat without Nick Bolton. Like you said, Drew Tranquill was in there from the get-go, demanding that defense do what they had to do. He had getting people into place, pointing things out. He was doing everything, man. He was trying to take Nick Bolton's job today is what he was trying to do.
Look, he was rocking the green dot. They trusted him. It showed. So, look, if Nick Bolton has to miss 1 more week, let's just get that ankle right. We're fine. We got our boy playing. I thought everybody looked good today. Steve, we'll stick on the defense for just a minute, and then we'll get over to the offense because everybody wanted to talk offense. That's fine. The offense got right today. This is what this game was. It was a get-right day, and they got it. We'll talk about that in a second. But the defense, 1 more guy I wanted to bring up on the defense. Actually, 2 more. Trent McDuffie playing the slot today forces another fumble. This dude played amazing. And then we said Snead shadowing DJ Moore had to be huge today. Snead was finally up to the challenge. He tackled well. He covered well. Snead is finally looking to be back. Maybe it was the knee for the first 2 weeks. I don't know what it was, but he's back, Steve. Snead looked good today. And look, we're tough on Snead, but when Snead plays well, I'm going to give him his credit. And I give him credit today.
Yeah, give that man his flowers. He looked good today. I think he's just knocking some rust off in the first 2 games because he didn't get to play in the entire offseason, Mike. He missed all of camp. He missed preseason. He came into game 1 a little rusty, and I think his knee was still affecting him somewhat. He did not look himself in the first 2 weeks. I'll say that.
Yep.
Now, I know Snead gives up a lot of catches. He always has, but it looked extra bad, and he was missing a lot of tackles in the first 2 weeks. Today, he looked solid, and like you said, Trent McDuffie, he's well on his way to being a top 5 corner in this league. That man is shut down, and he tackles with the best of them.
Trent McDuffie is flat out the warden. He will lock you down. Brian Cook had a pretty good day. He had 4 total tackles. Leo had another good day. He had 4 total tackles. Mike Dana, Steve, is not getting enough credit. Mike Dana is flat out playing
beast.
ball this year. He had a sack and a tackle for loss today, 3 total tackles. Mike Dana looked good, Steve, and he's continued to look good.
There were plays when he didn't get the sack where he just absolutely manhandled that offensive line all the way back into Justin Fields. Just a complete beast today. I love to see it too, because we talked about how Mike Dana could be a key piece of this defense if he could ever stay healthy and get a full season in. Let's cross our fingers and hope this is the year, man, because he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, Felix played really good off the edge. He had 3 total tackles. He created pressure. Noddy, 3 total tackles today. Noddy looked pretty good. Jack Cochran has 3 total tackles today. I thought Malik Herring looked good when he got some reps on the edge. Malik Herring was all over the field. This guy was the Energizer Bunny out there. Josh Williams looked pretty good. Justin Reed had another solid day. Tipped a ball. It got picked. Mike Edwards, the other free agent we picked up there to be a ball hawk, actually got the pick today. George Karlaftis had a half sack. He looked pretty good. Chris Jones got a full sack. Now, I will say Chris Jones didn't cause as much chaos as I thought he was going to do today, because he was lined up on the rookie right tackle. We thought he was going to eat Darnell Wright's lunch. Then we were like, look, the inside interior offensive line for Chicago, atrocious. But they got away with enough holding, and they got away with enough of maybe just getting out of the pocket quick enough that Chris Jones really did not create as much havoc as I thought he would.
I feel like he did.
I can't wait to go see the PFF scores and everything and see what his actual hurries, what his actual grades were.
I bet if you go back and look at the tape, I bet he was eating up double, triple teams all day long.
That's true.
I would almost bet it. Besides George Karlaftis, he was probably the most held defender all day long. Those two were absolutely getting held nonstop.
Nonstop.
Of course they overlooked it, because I mean, if you called all those holding calls, it would have looked like the freaking Miami Dolphins and Donkey game.
Yeah.
That's what it would have looked like. It would have been a 70-point a job there. But they let a lot of that slide for the Bears offensive line. But yeah, I think Chris Jones is quieter than people thought he was going to be. But I think he was highly effective, especially when they put him on the outside against Darnell Wright. Mike, we talked about that before the game. Like, hey, this looks like a matchup that Steve Spagnuolo might take advantage of.
Right.
You got Darnell Wright over there, the rookie right tackle. He could push Chris Jones to the outside and let him eat.
Right.
And guess what? He got one huge sack where he just wrecked Darnell Wright and got to Justin Fields.
Chris Jones took 23 snaps over Jacksonville's right tackle, which was rookie Anton Harrison, which was taken later in the first round. Darnell Wright was taken number 10. Yeah. I felt like that was a little bit of a reach for Darnell Wright, because I thought the Chiefs were looking to him late in the first round. And I thought maybe they had to come up a little bit if they wanted him, but 10 seemed like a huge reach. By the way, Ryan Poles, of course they're going to look to see what the Chiefs are going to do, and they're just going to mimic it. But I think he jumped the gun there. That was too early for Darnell Wright for now. But he did play 23 snaps last week over the right tackle. I'm curious to see how many snaps he played over Darnell Wright this week, because I don't feel like I've seen him out on the defensive end what would have been 23 times today. Do you? I feel like he played a lot more from the interior.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to go back and check that out. Darnell Wright, though, I feel like he's not been that great at pass blocking this year. But if you actually go look up, his run blocking win rate's pretty high. He's one of the top in the NFL. So maybe they didn't miss completely.
That's what I said he was going to do. I said Darnell Wright is not a pass blocking guy. He's a run guy. And look, we chose to pay $80 million to Jawan Taylor, who's more of a pass block guy, not a run guy. So Andy, I don't think, valued the run over the pass. But this is a perfect segue. Opening this up with the defense. It's time the defense gets their shine in Kansas City, and they have had 3 games. They have stacked 3 beautiful games, and I'm glad we opened up with the defense today. Elite, baby, elite.
It's elite. Before we move on from the defense, I got to give one more shout out. I think that Joshua Williams had a good day. He was playing some sticky coverage, and he made some plays as well. I know Brian Cook about took him out on one play, but no, Josh Williams looked really good. And also want to shout out the linebackers. We talked about Drew Tranquill, but Leo and Willie Gay played excellent today as well.
Yeah. Leo, I think Leo's going to be a beast once he starts getting really comfortable rushing off the edge.
Leo's all over the field, baby.
Right. And then, of course, Willie Gay, he made a couple big plays. He even punched Justin Fields right in the grill. He wasn't having it. He was getting out there.
Forearm to the dome, son.
Right. But let's jump over to the offense. This is probably going to take a lot of time, by the way, to talk about this offense. We had a lot to talk about today. We'll just start off with let's start off with the way the offense looked with the wide receiver position. We said, first and foremost, that we were tired of the way the receivers looked good in the preseason, got to the regular season, and crapped the bed. Were they being utilized wrong? Were they not getting open? Is Mahomes missing them? Is the play calling out? People are blaming Nagy. Did we miss Bieniemy? Is this Andy's fault? Yada, yada, yada. It was non-stop all we've heard. We said this had to be a get-right game for the wide receivers. Today, they were all open all the time. Like, everybody was eating out there. But the big thing was, as we said, you had to get Rashee Rice going. You have to get Justin Ross going. Why keep hoarding them on the bench? If you're going to take 7, let's start using them and see who can play and who can't. And Steve, Andy heard it. And Andy played them early and often. Rice more than Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what really opened things up, Mike, was the run game. We talked about how they had to get an established run game. We've been saying that about the Chiefs for years, ever since Andy Reid came along. It's tough to get Andy on board with that. It's not in his nature to want to run the ball, right? But we said, Mike, if we can get 15 to 20 carries for Pacheco each game, it would be amazing what would happen with the pass game. It's going to open up some things. Well, sure enough, today they went straight to Pacheco and they let him eat on the inside there. He had a couple of great runs. I mean, he just runs so hard, Mike. Like, you can't doubt the guy. Just give him the rock. Let him go. It opens up so much. And I think that took a lot of pressure off the receivers, man, because the defense has to stay honest, and then that gives our receivers room to work. And like you said, they let a lot of the young guys get in early and often today.
Right.
We saw Rashee Rice getting a lot of work today, and he had himself a day.
Yeah.
And then we also saw Justin Ross out there a few times. He wasn't exactly getting the targets like Rashee Rice was, but hey, he was out there on the field more than he had been, so that's a positive sign. But the thing about it is MVS is still not getting a lot of looks. That's one thing I'm a little concerned about, but MVS had a couple of big plays today. Heck, he had a touchdown that they took away.
Right.
But yeah, Sky Moore looked good again. I think it's only going to get better for these guys, Mike. But this game was the get-right game for the offense as a whole. Not just the receivers, but everybody. They looked like a disheveled mess for 2 weeks. And this week, they looked like the Chiefs' offense that we've all known and we all have grown to love with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce.
Right. Look, they had Chicago. They were missing their big safety, Eddie Jackson. Okay, but look, they still had some good defenders out there. They had T.J. Edwards on the field. They had Terrell Smith. They had Tremaine Edmonds. They had Jaquan Brisker, the safety out of Penn State. They had Jalen Jones. You name it.
They're not scrubs, man.
No, they had Jalen Johnson back in the secondary. He was a first-round pick out of Utah, I'm pretty sure. Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami this year. That kid was one of the top 5, 6, 7 prospects in the entire, cornerback group. So, yeah, they're young, but they're not scrubs. And I think the offense looked good, and I think the wide receivers actually ate pretty well today, and they were open a lot. Look, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We were talking about Marquez, and it was like, look, he needs to have more. He only had 2 targets. Now, I think he technically had 3, but like you said, one of them took off the board. But he caught 1 ball on 2 targets for 37 yards. That's crazy. Marquez has to be used more. But I'll say this. Kelce got 8 targets. He led the team. We all know that was coming.
Naturally. Yeah.
But Rashee Rice, he was in early. He was in often. So was Ross. I'm curious to see what their snap counts are going to be. But Rashee Rice had 7 targets, 5 catches on 7 targets, 59 yards, and he had 2 that had a chance of getting in the end zone. He come up just short twice. Justin Watson, 3 targets. He had 2 catches for 51. We had talked about this. Justin Watson gets open. They're just not throwing him the ball. Sky Moore looked better today. You mentioned him. He had 6 targets today. When's the last time Sky Moore has got 6 targets? They're finally using the receivers right. They were putting him in the right spots. He had 4 catches, 42 yards. Noah Gray didn't have a very big day, but I think he got injured at one point. Justin,
you also have Kelce back full strength,
right.
So that's going to take a little bit away from Noah Gray. And also, like you said, I think he got a hip pointer or something on one play.
Yeah.
He limped off. It looked pretty rough. So, yeah, he wasn't utilized as much. And before we move on past the receivers, Mike, I want to point out, Kadarius Toney wasn't used today hardly at all.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
He had 1 target, one reception for -1 yard. That's it. The rest of the time he spent on the sideline, which is fine. We all know he had a toe injury. He was questionable. So maybe Andy saw the opportunity. Hey, this offense is humming right along. Let's take this opportunity to leave Kadarius on the sideline and let him rest and recover and get that toe right.
Yeah.
That way we don't end up with him missing the next game, because we all know how Kadarius Toney does.
So look, this is what I noticed in Jacksonville. This is what I noticed in the first game with Detroit. I noticed that Rashee Rice kind of backs up Sky Moore. I've noticed that Justin Ross pretty much backs up Marquez, and then Justin Watson and Kadarius Toney kind of rotate, depending on what they want to do. They tend to get Kadarius Toney involved in the screen game. If it's a deep shot, they'll go ahead and put Watson in. If it's a run play, they'll pretty much lean Watson over Kadarius Toney. But what we see today is Kadarius Toney did not play as much because of that toe, presumably. They just said, look, we don't need him. Let's not do it. In his absence, it's almost as if they give Rashee Rice his snaps today. And so Rashee Rice was getting more snaps. I don't think he actually was like him and Justin Watson was rotating out of the game, because I feel like there's a few plays they were together. But I feel like that with Toney going out, it's almost like they trusted Rashee to pick up another receiver role and just not have to keep backing up Sky Moore. Does that make sense? So it's like he's not always just have to back up. Like Sky doesn't have to leave the field for Rashee to come on now. And I felt like that worked. Justin Ross, by the way, he only got one target. I noticed when he was on the field, and I want to look at his snap count. I don't know if it's more than he got last week. In week 1, he had 6. Last week, he had 9. I want to think that he got to double digits this week. And I asked you, would he have 15 targets or would Pacheco get 15 carries first? And you said Pacheco would get 15 carries. And
you said 15 snaps, not targets.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I said that wrong. But yeah, you said that Pacheco would get the 15 carries. So going to the running backs now, you mentioned this. Pacheco had 15 carries. 15 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. But did you know Clyde Edwards-Helaire also had 15 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown?
It didn't seem like he had 15 carries. I know Clyde played today, and he played well. But you know they weren't using him early, because Mike, you even made a comment during the game like, man, they're really taking Clyde's snaps away. Like, is it finally time for them to move on from Clyde, or is he just still sick, or what is going on here?
Right, and at the risk of the pitchforks coming out, because everybody hates Clyde. It's become this new phenomenon, Steve, where everybody hates on Clyde.
Yeah.
We had talked about it during the game when Rashee Rice come up a little short on the touchdown. They give the vulture TD to Clyde because he's a little bowling ball. He can slide in. And we looked at each other, and I told you, I was like, look, this is going to open up hate on Clyde because he's not allowed to do nothing. They'll say he vultured the touchdown and he shouldn't have got it. Lo and behold, all over X, instantly, I cannot believe they allowed Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was wasted to let him vulture this and blah, blah, blah. People
From a
will
real
not
football
give.
player.
Right. Come on. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But this is what impresses me about Clyde. The same amount of carries, he was only 7 yards smaller, like less than Pacheco had, 55 to 62. They both had the touchdown. Yeah, Clyde got the vulture it from an inch out, but that's what happens. We've all seen it. We've all played fantasy football. We know that happens 24/7. But the point is, it's almost more impressive that Clyde did it, because Clyde did it late in the game where the Bears starters were still playing, but we had a backup QB in. So you didn't have them having to be honest like they did with Pacheco in the first with Mahomes. They were just crowding the line because they knew we were running clock. And he's still out here doing it. So I think Clyde deserves a little bit of props this week. I think he looked good in his limited action, and still 30 carries with those two. And then what does it equal? 30 carries and about 120 some yards, 130 yards between those. Jerick McKinnon also got 2 carries for 9 yards. Dude, I think that's pretty good. That's 32 carries from running backs. If we do that every week, we're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this over and over again, Mike. But I think with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of course, everyone hates him because you have that group of Chiefs fandom, a part of the Chiefs kingdom. They all have this hate in their hearts.
I already see it now. The comments are coming, Steve. They're going to say, we turned off today because you talked about Clyde for 3 seconds.
Well, the thing about it is, man, it's like Orlando Brown Jr. finally left, so they had to redirect their hate somewhere else.
Had to find somebody.
And it's that same group of people that they always jump and bandwagon together on everything, right? Yeah. So it's just, that's the thing. So not worried about that. I think Clyde played fine. I think he actually played pretty decent. Clyde's going to play decent when he plays this year, Mike. He's in his contract year. He's got to get paid this coming year from somebody. It's his first chance to get a good NFL contract. And if the Chiefs aren't going to give it to him, which they're probably not, he's got to get it from somewhere. So he's got to put some good tape out there and really earn his money. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just with you. I think 30-plus carries, that's freaking amazing. Glad that Andy decided to go that route today. think it really helped open things up with the receivers, made their lives easier. And Patrick Mahomes was able to kind of relax and just get back there and play his game. It wasn't like he was forcing today.
Right.
It was everything came to him. It was beautiful to watch. It was nice to see the offense running like a well-oiled machine. It didn't look like a mess like it had. It was just nice to actually see it all come together.
Right. And did we mention that Taylor Swift was there?
Was she?
She was. And she was there to watch her man, her little boo-boo, Kelce. Kelce looked good today. Check out this clip of Patrick Mahomes talking about it.
Yeah, I heard she was in the house.
Did you feel it? Did you feel the pressure, Patrick?
I felt a little bit of pressure. And so I knew I had to get it to Trav. And, of course, it's on a route that Travis, he does his own thing and just makes up a route, and I throw it to him. So I think he wanted to get in the end zone just as much as all the Swifties wanted him to.
Look, he got in the end
wild.
zone. He got in the end zone. Taylor Swift
Mike,
has become a what?
It's a wild time to be a
It
Chiefs
is.
fan.
It is. We were talking about that. We're a flyover state in the middle of nowhere. We're a small market. But, dude, with Kelce, with Mahomes, we have become the epicenter of what is it? Popularity? I don't know how to explain it, but celebrity.
Mike, they're straight celebrities.
Celebrity.
Hey, fly over no more. Kansas City is on the map.
It's
and
a
it got
stop.
put directly on the map by Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce.
Right.
I mean, Travis Kelce turned into a straight celebrity after the Super Bowl win. So this is no surprise to me that this is going on. But I'm fine with it. If Taylor Swift can come to the game and the Chiefs play like they played today, then I will have her at every damn game.
Give her a box seat and call it the Swift Suite for all I care. We were talking. God has put her on this earth possibly for this moment. We had talked about this. She went. She's got an entire album named Red. I mean, Big Red. We wear red. Red Kingdom. You name it. The red and gold. She's perfect for the Chiefs at this moment in time. Maybe she's our good luck charm. Maybe she will be the reason that we continue out the dynasty. I'm fine with it. People want to hate on it, but this is what I say. The defense plays like that. The offense plays like that. When she's at the game, her and Mama Kelce, please go to every single game. Please.
Yeah, chum it up. Chum it up. Have a good time. Chest bump Kelsey's friends.
Have yourself
Say
a day.
let's effing go when he scores a touchdown. I don't care. Just do it.
Just do it. Have a good day. Kelce, Mahomes, they looked closer today to Kelce and Mahomes. They really did.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jacksonville game, it was a little off. Mahomes was throwing it behind him a little bit. Kelce didn't look comfortable. Today looked better. I thought the offense looked better as a whole today. And I'm telling you, it's not because of Rice and, Ross playing more. I don't think that was the reason. I think it was honestly the run game. I 100% believe it was the run game.
That's always the answer. I swear 9 out of 10 times when the Chiefs are stagnant and their offense stinks, it's because they're not establishing a run game. And if you do not establish some sort of a run game, that's when they start playing that high cover 2 shell, which Patrick Mahomes notoriously sucks against.
Oh, God. He
just can't figure it out. I don't know what it is about it, but he cannot figure it out. And the defense doesn't have to be honest, man. They can totally play nothing but the pass, not worry about the run when they know Andy's going to refuse to do it. But guess what? If he comes out and he puts 30 freaking carries down their throat with Pacheco, Clyde, and even Jerick McKinnon, they're going to have to get in that box, brother. And then Patrick Mahomes can get a little bit of pressure off of them and be Patrick Mahomes.
Look, this was a great game. It was a get-right game. We got right. We were all horned up today. We were just straight up. We were horned. We were lightheaded from all the horn. But I'll tell you this. There was one sore spot that really irked me today, and it's the NFL's continual BS hate trying to make Jawan Taylor and his alignment like a thing now. All because of something in week 1 with a bunch of bored announcers. Again, you got people, they'll show it on TV and they show it from an angle where you can't tell what it is, but then all the sheep say, well, there he is, he's offsides. Yeah, because you couldn't see. Okay, look, it's ridiculous. We've looked at it over and over again. It looked no different than the other plays. So either you call it every single time, you just don't call it when there's a big play or a scoring play.
You just don't call it on Jawan Taylor in particular because every tackle in the NFL does the exact same thing.
So the NFL,
Mike.
Steve, again, and we have this same beef every year. They keep putting in more and more rules, more and more penalty calls that are judgment calls. You can't argue these. You can't go to the replay booth.
Let's put our tinfoil hats
It's a
on for a minute
judgment.
because we have a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead, grab your tinfoil hat.
Get your little
Put it
hat.
on with us. Put it on.
I don't
Put
have
it on
one.
with us. Okay.
Here.
Just act like you do.
Just gotta-
whatever.
okay.
Just put it on. Okay. So if they, start doing this to
Why are we
Juwan
swaying
Taylor
like
now,
this, though?
I don't know. Just keep doing
I
it.
like
though.
it. Okay.
Okay. If they keep doing this to Juwan Taylor early and often in the season, and they're just picking on Juwan Taylor, then guess what, Mike? Later in the season, when there's a very important game, when it's something that's
Like a
has
playoff
a lot of
game.
implications, a big play happens that could seal the deal for the Chiefs. But guess what? Nay.
Juwan Taylor was lined up in the backfield.
Yeah, he was lined illegal formation on number 74.
Hat off. It's not a conspiracy theory at this point.
Guess what? Because at that point, he's been doing it all year,
Right.
so it's not a big deal.
It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It's truth. You're targeting Juwan Taylor.
100%.
Patrick Mahomes seen it today. The offensive line seen it today. Juwan Taylor does not line up off the center. Right tackles, left tackles do not get up to the line of scrimmage, look over to their center, and then line up next to it. You don't. You line up off the guard. So presumably, if he's too deep, then the guard's too deep. So you either say, Trey Smith, you got to get up so he knows to get up a little closer. If Trey Smith's totally fine, then he's not back. Look, they're just picking on him. We went back and looked. We've looked here.
Yes.
Okay, look. Here's a screenshot we got now of Trent Williams, San Francisco 49ers. Does he look as though he's on the center's belt line? He's half a yard behind.
So their argument with Juwan Taylor is that the crown of his helmet needs to be on the belt line.
Not the butt.
Right, the belt line, like his waist.
Right.
So I'm assuming midway through his waist. If his waist from fat belly navel back to freaking back, okay, is a foot and a half, he's got to be right in the middle of that for it to be correct.
He's got to be right on his hip pointer.
Well, look at that. There's probably
The
good
guard's not even on his
6-inch
hip.
gap. Yeah, the guard might have his face on that center's butthole right now.
Right.
And then Trent Williams is not even in the vicinity. There's
Williams-
a foot gap between that center and Trent Williams' face.
Right. The right tackle's not even close, by the way.
None of them are close. Guess what? How many flags did they get?
They got none.
0.
Look, moving
None.
on. You've got the Steelers here. You got Broderick Jones. You got their other tackle. I don't even know his
They're
name.
actually performing Gordon Bombay's famous flying V from the Mighty Ducks.
And again, the center, he's where he's supposed to be. The guard is right on the belt line. So how is the tackles on the belt line? Because
It's not.
Again,
This
foot
is no
back.
different than anything Juwan Taylor's ever done. It might be worse, actually. So,
Okay.
hey, let's go onward.
We got
Onward.
one more. Let's look at the Bengals.
Look at Orlando Brown Jr. here.
Orlando Brown Jr. and their guard is not even
And
close.
if you think that's egregious, go look at the right tackle.
The right tackle is so far back, he's standing on the elf's painter. And like this is ridiculous. Like, none of these people are getting flags. Everybody's like, well, they're throwing them on other teams. I dare you to put it in the comments where you're hearing it, where you're seeing
This
it.
it strictly stems from the freaking primetime game on
Right.
Thursday night against the Lions, where the stupid announcers didn't know the rules of football,
1000%.
were bored, didn't have anything else to talk about, and then you had all these freaking Twitter sheep out here, all just mimicking each other and parroting each other and just looking like fools, to the extent to where the NFL's like, we'll do something about this, okay? We're going to do something about this. We're really going to crack down on it.
We'll send out a
league-wide.
video to the
Their
league.
The crackdown league-wide just happens to be, hey, let's pick on Juwan Taylor at all costs.
Right.
And that's turning into a, hey, let's negate all good Chiefs plays by just saying that Juwan Taylor is an illegal formation.
And so, Andy Reid benched Juwan Taylor for a few plays.
Terrible decision.
For
Terrible
a few plays
decision.
against Jacksonville. And then coming out of the half, he starts Prince Tega at right tackle.
Terrible decision.
Terrible decision. You validated the BS calls. You validated it. Now, look, was there a reason he was doing it? You come up with the theory that it was possible. He wanted to put Prince Tega out there. He wanted to have a few plays of Prince Tega lining up perfectly. And then he wanted to keep sliding them back and sliding them back and seeing how egregious he could get to get that on video so they could then go and be like, look, our backup right tackle was doing the exact same thing, maybe worse. You didn't call it then. So why are we just targeting Juwan Taylor? Was that what they were doing? Or do you really think Andy was validating this? And do you think that they're letting this, do you think they're giving the league a pass here? Because Andy and them do not like to stick up sometimes when the league's being wrong, such as last year with Chris Jones. During the Colts game when he gets a penalty for saying a cuss word. Nobody argued the officials. We were irate.
Potty mouth. That's a 15-yard penalty.
And Andy don't say a word. He's just like, well, I don't want to talk about it. I'll get fined. Like, some people call that
Boo-hoo,
class.
Andy.
Sometimes
Boo-hoo.
I just say, maybe you need to fight for your players a little bit.
Well, here's my thing, Mike. I thought that might be a theory. Like, maybe they're going to let Prince get out there and do the exact same thing. That way they can get it on tape that, hey, they're not calling on Prince, but they're calling it on Juwan Taylor.
Right.
But then I started thinking about it. They don't need that on tape because we just pulled up screenshots of other teams, and you can keep going. We can keep going down that rabbit hole. It's not just those teams.
We don't have time.
Pull up every team in the NFL and watch parts of their games from Sunday. Just do it. You're going to see this all throughout the league, and you're going to see absolutely zero freaking calls on anyone except Juwan Taylor. Like, it's so freaking obvious.
He got flagged for 0 false starts today, though.
I'm with you, Mike.
Positive.
I think it was a bad move by Andy Reid. And I think the reason why he did it is not because he wants Juwan Taylor to think about it and work on this and, people are watching and you're still doing the wrong. I don't think that had nothing to do with it. Nay. I think he's trying to appease freaking the whiny butts of Chiefs Kingdom that are all out there like, we need to trade Juwan Taylor. We need to get rid of him. We need to bench him. He's terrible. Guys, let's talk about something real quick. When Juwan Taylor's on the football field, he is the top in the entire NFL pass block win rate. Okay? Yeah. In the entire NFL. Okay, so you're going to take the best pass blocker in the entire NFL and trade him or bench him because he's getting picked on about some BS that everybody else in the league's doing? You're wrong. Shut up.
Ridiculous.
That's dumb. Don't like it. Andy, quit.
Quit. We said
quit
this.
Pandering.
When we signed him for $80 million, we said, look, he doesn't run block very well. We don't think he's going to be able to slide to left tackle. Why is he getting paid this much money? We were completely told how stupid we were over and over. And he's an upgrade and he's this and he's that. Those same people now that I will admit that he's overperformed on the right tackle side better than I thought he would. He's give up way less pressures. He's done a lot of good stuff over there. His win rate, like you said, on pass block sets are the highest in the league. I will now give him his flowers. He done well there. But these same people that bitched and moaned at us the entire time has now come out and said, well, we need to trade him. We need to bench him. So you're crying over an alignment set now? So now you're ready to get rid of an $80 million guy over an alignment set where they're obviously picking on him. This is one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard.
The top pass blocker in the NFL. We need to bench him. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's pay a guy $80 million, have him perform at an $80 million level.
I love Chiefs Kingdom, but there's a subset of them that just need to shut up. And they need to delete their Twitters, by the way. Just go ahead and do
and that's the thing about it. One moron puts it on there, which means 2,000 other morons have to do it too, or else they were not in the cool club anymore.
It's the echo chamber. We see it all the time. There's a nice subgroup of people that get their news off Twitter. And
I actually considered starting a segment in this show called "Let's Take a Look at the Echo Chamber,"
right?
And just look and what everybody's saying that day.
And then watch it get
right. And we'll see what the hot topic is that day. Like, who are we hating today? Is it Clyde? Is it Orlando Brown Jr.?
Who is it?
Is it Justin Reed? Who are we going to hate today?
Yeah, I'm sure somebody is going to tweet something stupid, and then there it goes. That's always the way it is. But overall, Steve, on the game, very positive day by the offense. They got it right. The receivers looked pretty good. I thought Rice and Ross looked decently good in their, I don't want to say breakout games, but they kind of were breakout game for Rashee Rice. I think going forward, he's earned more playing time now. Ross, still on the fence. I want to see what he's got more. I thought he caught that catch right off the bat, but they said it was incomplete. I've got to go back and watch that. I don't know why it was incomplete.
I don't know if he dropped it or if he bobbled it and he was out of bounds or what the heck happened. But yeah, I'm with you.
But I still think he done well. And again, when I watched some of his routes in real time, I felt like they were a lot of decoy routes and they wasn't even looking at him. And I felt like he was blocking a lot and he just wasn't really running a lot of routes. So I have to go back and look at that. That's what the all-22
Something else he didn't do, he did do, that people don't recognize was he was running rub routes to perfection today.
Yeah.
Like he actually caused a touchdown pass. He was doing his job and he was doing it well. We've talked about Rashee Rice run blocking maybe not being the greatest. It's not he's bad at blocking, but sometimes he's missing who he needs to block. He might be going after the wrong guy here and there and allowing a tackle that shouldn't happen. Today he looked solid. Like I'll be interested to go back and watch the all-22, but I think Rashee Rice really had himself.
Rashee Rice had two bad plays today. One was the one he should have caught, bounced off,
caused the interception,
got the pick.
Yeah. I don't think you're officially a Chief until you freaking bounce off a ball off your chest or your arm straight to the other team.
He was trying to – it was homage to –
It's like a rite of passage in Kansas City. Travis Kelce's done it. Tyreek Hill made it famous. He did it twice a game.
Right.
I mean, I think it's just a thing you have to do.
His other bad play I noticed was one of the very first routes he ran. There was a zone. He cut his route off too quick. Mahomes threw it where he should have been, and he stopped running. That I thought was going to cause Andy to maybe pull him to the sideline and sort of take away some of his stuff. But what happened is I believe within the first 15, he still had a few routes that he was supposed to be in on. Andy wasn't going to pull them and mess up that. And I believe in the other instances, they actually seen, hey, he did it right. He's getting open. Let's keep him on the field. And I think he earned himself more snaps past the first 15. So very pleased by the offense. We've already talked about the defense. Very, very pleased by the defense. Steve, let's throw some game balls, shall we? Who's your offensive game ball MVP today?
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm going to have to give it to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And the reason being is because, man, what an abysmal offense in the first 2 weeks, right? Maybe the last half of the Jags game, we can say they did okay, but they weren't great. They weren't good. Mahomes looked like he was pressing and everything else. Today, he did not. I don't know, Mike, I think it was because the run game was effective today. I think it's a lot of other factors, but Patrick Mahomes looked comfortable today. Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes. He was letting the game come to him. He was making good passes. He was making good decisions. And that's what we've all wanted to see in the first 2 weeks. Because, like, what's wrong with him? Like, why is he making these bad decisions? He didn't do that today. We didn't have that problem.
Right.
And I know the ankle scared some people when Ngakoue fell on it at the end of the first half there.
Yep.
But I think he's okay. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think he was just a little frustrated because it's the same ankle that he had to deal with at the end of last season. Right. But, man, hey, he put up almost 300 yards passing at 3 TDs. That's a good day for Mahomes. And I think the offense was humming along. Anytime Mahomes is looking comfortable out there and can just sit around and throw the ball around at his pleasure, we're going to have a good day. And I'm going to give him the game ball, man, just for he got through those first 2 weeks. He played pretty well, even though the team wasn't in the first two games. Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to him today. He stuck it out, and he looked like Patrick Mahomes. He looked like the best quarterback in the league.
Right. I don't know who to give my offensive game ball to. Not because I don't think Patrick Mahomes had a good day. Not because I think Sky Moore did more today and was involved more, and I think that he actually helped the offense. Not because Rashee Rice didn't overperform. I thought he had a really good day. I just don't know who to give it to because I don't know who was actually calling the run calls. Because whoever was calling the running plays and got us 30 carries.
Well, Mike,
I don't know if it was Nagy influence.
I thought Matt Nagy didn't call the plays. I thought he didn't call running plays. I thought that was Eric Bieniemy, and that's why we weren't running the ball.
I don't know if it's 1,000% all Andy that decided to do this. Something tells me that he didn't. Nagy, I don't know who did it. Maybe it was a group effort. But whoever decided to have 30 runs, and believe me, if this would have been a little closer game, I still don't know if we would have kept those. Because I don't know if you get all Clyde's carries there in the second half when they were trying to run the ball out.
Well, look, man, I'm okay with Pacheco getting 15 carries in the first 3 quarters, bro. I don't care what happened in the last.
So I give my game ball to whoever decided that that's a good thing. If it's Andy and Nagy, you both get one. Congratulations. If it's Mahomes checking out of plays, congratulations. You get it. If it's Mahomes on the RPO and he says, here, take the ball, you get it. But they were doing more design stuff up the middle with Pacheco today a lot.
Which is what we need to see.
Right. And so that's my offensive game ball. My defensive game ball today, Steve, I was thinking about it, and I was like, who should get my defensive game ball? And there was a lot of good candidates. Snead was a really good candidate to get it today because he done a good job on DJ Moore. But, and our defensive line was pretty good today. They really were. So for me, it come down between 2 players, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the third player that I wasn't even thinking of. I was thinking Snead. I was thinking possibly McDuffie, but he wasn't the second one. I was thinking Mike Dana. I thought had a good day. But I'm going to give it to Drew Tranquill. And the reason, because that defense did not miss a beat. He kept them aligned where they were supposed to. He wore the green dot, which means he's hearing everything. He's putting them in position. He's calling and relaying the plays. This is his 3rd game in Kansas City, and the first game where he's had to have any of this responsibility. And that defense did not miss a beat. They hummed. He performed. Again, I think he had 8 total tackles. Was that what it was? 8 total. 4 solo and a half sack. So, heck of a job by Drew Tranquill. That's where I'm giving my defensive game ball to. I think he earned it.
Right. Well, I'm right there with you, man. I'm giving it to Drew Tranquill as well.
Sweet.
For the same reasons, man. From the first play on defense, you saw him out there getting his defense in order. Like, he literally took over that job like it was nothing. He was out there demanding the defense do this, do that.
Yep.
I mean, he were getting guys in the right position, and he was making all the correct calls. And not only that, but Drew was all over the field today. He's so fast, man. He's good in coverage. He's good at getting after the quarterback. He just does everything well. And it was a beautiful thing to watch, knowing, like, hey, Nick Bolton, like our main man on defense, if you want to, put Chris Jones aside, like Nick Bolton's kind of like the captain of the defense. Like, he wasn't there, and it wasn't a problem. We had a guy come in here seamlessly do it again, like just like we didn't miss a beat. And the best part about it is, Mike, is I was watching some of the Chargers game today, and guess who their middle linebacker was? Ben Neiman. And I was thinking, hey,
what a trade for us.
We got rid of Ben Neiman, and they had to take him, and we stole Drew Tranquill. Like, think about that for a minute. What a freaking upgrade, brother.
Why is Ben Neiman getting snaps over who was it they drafted? That linebacker to Oklahoma, Murray?
I don't know.
He still hasn't done nothing there. Like, what? They cannot draft worth a flip.
They should have lost.
And by the way, healthy scratch today with that corner they paid like $100 million to. What is going on? Like, the AFC West is in shambles. One of them got beat by 3,000 points today. The other one barely hung out and beat another team. By the way, Mike Williams went out. That's a huge.
Yeah. So, I guess what I want to talk about real quick before we get out of here for the day, Mike, is how do you feel overall with the Chiefs and the AFC right now? Now that we've got through 3 weeks of football. Of course, there's still a Monday night game, but 3 weeks of but 3 weeks of football is essentially over. Like, how are you feeling about how the Chiefs are playing and how other teams are? Because I was thinking about it today, and like, you think of all the usual suspects of like contending with the Chiefs to maybe take the AFC this year,
right?
And you think about the Bengals, who've looked like complete hot garbage, right? Mm-hmm. And then you think about Buffalo, who had looked bad, but then they got right today and blew out the Commanders. But then you think about the Titans. The Titans look like pure hot trash, brother. They're awful. So, like, then you got Miami out there hanging 70 points on an NFL team. Right. Granted, it was the Donkeys, but it's still a freaking NFL team. They hanging 70 points. That offense is looking pretty freaking potent right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Chiefs, man? Like, where do you place them in the AFC? Are they still top dog? Or do you think they're a tick behind what Miami's been able to do so far? Where do you place them?
Right. So, when the season started, we looked at the AFC East, and everybody was so willing to say that the Jets were going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Mike, we all knew something was going to happen there.
Right. We knew that was going to happen, and now, look, they're dead last in the AFC East. But again, the Dolphins look really good, and the Buffalo Bills look good. So, the two usual suspects. And actually, I feel like next week, Miami plays Buffalo, and you're going to see who is the early front runner in that division. Will Buffalo be able to stop that offense, like with their good defense? Will Josh Allen be able to hang with Tua? That sounds crazy to say, but we're going to see a lot there. But I do think those two teams are within the top 5 of the AFC, obviously. When you go to the North, I think the Ravens at 2-1 are just not a scary 2-1 team. The Browns at 2-1 are not scary. Like, I don't think they're very good. The Steelers at 1-1, but they're getting ready to probably beat we're recording this right now, so we don't know who's actually going to win the Sunday night game, but I bet you they beat the Vegas Raiders. I guarantee it. So the Bengals being 0-2 is weird to me. Will they probably fight back? Yeah, but we both said that we didn't think Cincinnati would win the division this year. A lot of people said we were hating on them just to hate on them, but I did not think that they were going to win that division this year. And then the South, the South is the South. I don't understand why Jacksonville's struggling so much, but I think they get it together.
I think they still win that division.
Right, they'll eventually pull it out. And then, of course, the Chiefs are the class of the AFC West, and we're going to continue to be. By the end of the year, it'll be Chiefs-Chargers yet again at the top of the division, and we will beat the Chargers yet again. So, yeah, I think if I had to look at it, nobody in the North scares me. Could the Bengals get healthier towards the end of the year and be a good game? Yeah, still. Nobody in the South really scares me much. I think it's Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs at the top, and right now I would have to put the Bills first. But I do think that the Chiefs should be second over the Bills. That's how I would power rank them right now. It would be Dolphins, Chiefs, Bills, and then I'd probably go ahead and put even with them being 0-2, I probably still put the Bengals at probably 4 or maybe 5 past Jacksonville. But that would be my top 5 teams.
Yeah. I agree and disagree with some of that, but I think the Chiefs are still top dog. I think you're the defending champion. You had a little misstep in the first game, but you didn't have Chris Jones. You didn't have Travis Kelce. There's an asterisk. I don't care what they say.
Oh,
There's an
asterisk.
For sure. But yeah, man, I think the Chiefs are still the team to beat. Can Miami do it? We'll find out in Germany. We'll find out if they can pull it off. But, I mean, there are a lot of things hinge on that. Like, is Tua going to be healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? Is our defense going to look as elite as they have been? Like, if you can shut down that high-powered offense, then what else do they got left, bro?
Hey, isn't it crazy? These are two teams on totally opposite ends of the spectrum. They're both good, but the Dolphins are doing it by crazy contracts and trading for everybody, and the Chiefs are doing it through cheap building contracts through rookies. Totally different spectrums.
There's longevity with the Kansas Cities.
Yeah, and I think the Dolphins' window's short.
Yeah, the Dolphins' window's very short. They're building a team, a super team, the way that other teams have tried to do it, and it worked for the Rams, and it worked for the Buccaneers.
Seems to be working.
It did. They both won a Super Bowl off of super teams. We watched it happen. But out of the 4 years, the other 2 Super Bowls were won by the Chiefs, who are doing it the right way, who are doing it the long way. And I think the Chiefs are going to be successful for far longer than any of these other organizations if they keep trying to build super teams. But, Mike, I think this week proves that the Chiefs are who we think they are. And I think that the Dolphins, they have a lot left to prove. Like, you can hang 70 points on the board when you're, feeding Tyreek Hill the ball 85 times, or you got Jalen Waddle out there running just as fast as Tyreek. You got Raheem Mostert, who's runs as fast as Tyreek. They're all speed. They're just all, Mike McDaniel's doing a good job. I'm not trying to take away from him, but I'm not afraid of them. I think the Chiefs can handle them, and I think we'll find out.
We're going to find out.
In Germany. So, yeah, Chiefs, favorable schedule up till then, though. So I think the Chiefs could definitely have time to get everything in order and get all the way right, which I think they pretty much did today.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, as far as the AFC goes, I still think Chiefs are the top dog.
Yeah, I think they could both be 8-1 at that time. That's crazy.
It could be a monster game with some one-seed implications.
It could be. But that's going to wrap it up for today, man. We appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate you guys watching. Click like. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you're listening on anything else, come over to All Chiefed Up, youtube.com/AllChiefedUp. We're trying to get to 20K. Come over, subscribe, get you some different content. Watch it. Hit that bell, and we'll catch you guys next time. Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.